What's good, guys? Prince Sports here, coming at you with another one in the rain edition. You know, of course, I got an umbrella over me to protect me. But, you know, I like to cool and relax. You don't get this much rain when you're in LA, so I taking advantage of it right now and just chilling. But I like to get something off my chest because I made a video of Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, and I said Wilt Chamberlain was a better basketball player, and people seem to sit there and say, oh, I don't understand what you're talking about. Wilt Chamberlain was this, he was a loser, he was that. None of that stuff matters, because I simply said, if you take Bill Russell off the Celtics, replace him with Wilt, and you take Bill Russell off the Celtics and you put him on the 76ers and all the other teams that Wilt Chamberlain played on, that 90% of the time, the guy that would be winning will be Wilt Chamberlain. Simple as that. And I said Wilt Chamberlain was the better individual, dominant basketball player. Simple as that. All right? Hey, good boy. All right? So, now that I said that, let me rephrase this thing again. When you're talking about all-time great basketball players, right? You're talking about individual dominance and winning. You can't have one without the other. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It's half-ass, all right? It's like looking at an ass. If it's missing one cheek, it's not a complete ass. You got to have two cheeks, okay? So, NBA player's legacy and his career got to have both. I need team success and I need individual dominance. I need both. I'm going to repeat this again. You need both when you're talking about all-time great basketball players. And when it comes to all-time great basketball players, none of them, unlike Bill Russell, averaged 9 points in one season. He had one season when he averaged 9 points. No NBA player that's on the top 10, top 5, right, ever had a season where they averaged 9 points a game. Whether it was in their prime or before they even entered their prime. We're not talking about outside of your prime, because that's completely different. Another whole subject for another day when you're an old guy and you're just on teams. Okay? But then you got Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron James. Okay? So a lot of people like to compare these two guys. I said it a lot, that these guys have a lot in common. LeBron James is the Wilt Chamberlain of this generation. They both stat patters. They both stat stuffers. They both guys that had a reputation for choking. They both underachievers with team success. They are almost the same style of basketball players, right? The only difference is Wilt Chamberlain never played with the amount of talent that LeBron James has played for most of LeBron's championship runs. Now, if you gave Wilt Chamberlain the D Wades, the Kyrie Irvings, he probably would have had a three-peat, okay? He probably would have achieved more championships than LeBron James with more tries, if you ask me. You know, but we never will know that answer. But the main thing we know is they both got a losing record in the NBA Finals. They both will never be considered the GOAT for that simple fact reason. One reason, okay? But the other reason is the individual dominance too. You got to have that. MVPs count. Defensive Players of the Year count. Finals MVPs count. And guess what? Sooner or later, one day, Western Conference MVP will count. Eastern Conference MVP will count. All these individual accolades you got to accomplish as an individual player, it adds to your resume and your legacy as a dominant basketball player. Now, what makes Michael Jordan so hard to beat is the fact that he got individual dominance with team success. And his team success has 0 losses. His individual dominance speaks for itself because he was always number one without no pushback for it, right? Unlike LeBron, when you sit there and say, oh, I think Kevin Durant is better. I think Kawhi Leonard is better. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is better. I think Steph Curry is better. That's the difference. Wilt Chamberlain had a dominant run. But one thing's for sure. You can't look at me in the face and tell me, outside of team success, that Bill Russell is a better individual basketball player than Wilt Chamberlain, because he's not. You know he's not. Okay? There's no factual information that state that he is better than Wilt Chamberlain, despite all those flaws Wilt Chamberlain got. Okay? That's the difference. Peak for peak, Wilt Chamberlain was better than Bill Russell. Just like peak for peak, Jordan is better than LeBron. Peak for peak, Jordan got better team success. Peak for peak, Jordan got better individual success. There's nothing LeBron James got over Michael Jordan, even when it comes to stats and closing games out and individual dominance. Jordan scraped the plate. LeBron James left a lot of food on the plate. That's the difference. But LeBron James is this generation's version of Wilt Chamberlain. They got a lot in common. They both underachievers. They're everything under the sun when it comes to the negative criticisms that we give them. But we also gotta remember the fact that they were also great basketball players as well. We wouldn't be talking about them. Let's not act like LeBron James isn't a great basketball player. Let's not act like Wilt Chamberlain isn't a great basketball player. These guys aren't scrubs. They're still great all-time players. They just have more flaws compared to the next guy. Why Kobe Bryant isn't the GOAT? Because Kobe got the team success, right? But what he don't get is the individual dominance. And he don't get the individual dominance when it comes to all his championships because he wasn't considered the top dog. You got to scrape the plate to be number one. What does it take to be number one? Like Nelly said, you got to scrape the plate, brother. That's what it takes. Everything counts, except for breaking records. That's just a fancy decoration. But the individual accolades with dominance and team success is your two main factors. Two main factors. And nobody in modern NBA history really has a resume like Michael Jordan, since this whole GOAT shit started really in the 80s and up. That's why I always say players from past that kind of disqualified. But even if you want to add them, they still lacking in a lot of things too. Why Jerry West is lacking? He got the individual good numbers, but he don't get team success. And his individual numbers still isn't as dominant as some other players. So he failed in both aspects. Prince Sports out. Do you get what I'm saying now? Peace.